No. I am
Mushroom farming.
My name's Tom Brain. This is Mr. PVC and this is Mr. Wood, and together we're going to build a vertical fruiting shelf for my oyster mushrooms. Currently I fruit on a horizontal shelving, and I want to change that to vertical shelving because I think side fruiting bags on a vertical shelf might just be better than the current top fruiting method I do. So come with me and we'll go build this. I live next to a volunteer fire station. So this is the end of my fruiting chamber. Now this has a giant door in it, or a swinging wall, which opens up to the outside. So that's outside, that's inside. Now the reason I've done this is to clean this room. I just water blast it down, and then I can just sweep out, push out all that dirty water, and it just flows outside. It's not ideal. In hindsight, I should have cut that floor and installed a drain so I can just spray everything and it goes into that drain, but I didn't do that. I wish I had, but I didn't, so I make do with what I've got. But it does make it easier for situations like this where I want to take out the racking and install new racking. I can swing this door open, and then I can pretty much lift those entire shelving units and just walk them outside. So that's a benefit for having the swinging door here. So the reason I chose to horizontally farm at the start was because I believed that I could intensively farm a smaller space better. Now, it works to some degree. You can really cram a lot of bags on a horizontal plane. This one I'm standing right next to here, if we look across it, I can fit about 30 bags down here. Right, but the problems arise when I need to harvest bags. Let's say I want to harvest this one, which is just back in here. You know, that's behind 2 bags, or that one right at the back, which has 3 bags in front of it. And so to get this one out, I actually need to move 2, 3, 4, 5 bags out in front of it, and that becomes a real pain in the ass when you've got a big flush of mushrooms on there. So it's actually not as efficient as I'd thought it would be. I've got this one here sits 4 shelves high, so 1, 2, 3, 4. The bottom I don't tend to use very much, neither do I tend to use the top. They get a bit inaccessible. The bottom one, because you kind of have to kneel on the floor, and the floors are wet, I don't want to do that. And the top, because you've really got to reach back and put it over. So I find I'm only using the top 2 shelves. So realistically, when I thought I could get, say, 120 odd bags on the shelf, I'm only really using the space for 60. So I thought, bugger it. We'll go to vertical fruiting, and we'll try and get the bag splayed up a wall instead of across the, or a vertical sort of surface instead of across the horizontal plane. Plus I get to side fruit. You see all these ones in front are all actually top fruiting. I'm actually testing fruiting out of the very bottom of the bag to see how we go. This is also a new strain I'm trialing here, a new oyster strain. But I've got some below which is side fruiting as well. And when you're side fruiting on a horizontal surface, it gets really inefficient. So I wouldn't recommend doing that at all. If you're going to side fruit, I always recommend either going vertical or have like a narrow horizontal surface you harvest across. You can't do one that's sort of 4 bags deep like this one here is. But we're going to set up the vertical wall, and we'll see how we go with that. So this is the wall I have chosen to build my first test vertical fruiting rack for my mushroom fruiting chamber here. The wall is about 6 feet high and about 8 feet long. Now my intention is to have about 7 rows running down this wall here. Now each row will stick out about 3 inches or 10 centimeters from the previous row above it, which is going to create a giant sloping surface down to the bottom, or where the bottom will stick out about 1 meter. Now the main reason I'm building a sloping wall is natural disasters. The east coast of America gets hurricanes, Japan gets tsunamis, England get the 2019 Rugby World Cup final. But Christchurch, New Zealand, where I live, we get earthquakes, and we get a lot of them. About 10 years ago we had a devastating one that leveled half our city. So they are a weekly occurrence for us. So the sloping wall will help. Instead of all that weight being on a vertical shelving unit, which is prone to swaying, it's going to be leaning against something. So in the event of something shaking, like an earthquake, hopefully it's not going to fall over. There are other benefits for that too, and that the blocks which are flushing across the top, the mushrooms are set back a bit so you won't bump them like you might bump some low ones. And bacteria that might drip off the top bags are down, will hopefully not drip on the bags below on the face of where those mushrooms are fruiting. Another good reason is that it's really easy to harvest. As I said before, my bags in here are difficult to harvest, but if they're just on a wall, you can just go along and pick each bunch off as you need them. So that's where my first vertical rack is going to go. I'm going to start today, and hopefully in a couple of days we'll have this all finished, and hopefully it's going to work as I intend it to. So we've got the base frame done. Now what we're going to do, get out here tomorrow, is we're going to drill holes right through here, and they're going to get a big piece of PVC running through, and then a little piece of probably metal strip running along the back to hold those bags in place. And we are done, team. Now I've made it with treated wood and PVC piping here. This is about 40mm PVC piping with some treated wood slats behind it just to stop those bags falling back. Along the floor there's a couple of bolts which stick up about 1 inch, and they stop the bottom from sliding out underneath it. So it's wedged onto those, and it just sits freely against the wall behind it. But once that's loaded with weight, there's a bit of pressure, so we'll be holding that back against the wall. So we'll load this with bags now, and we'll sort of see just how many we can fit onto it. And the results are in. This has been 5 days since I got these bags in here, and you actually see they're all pinning really nicely. I'm over the moon with just how well this has worked, and I'm going to change a shelf I've got behind me to a second vertical farming shelf, and then I'm going to put another half-size shelf right behind the camera here. I'm going to leave one horizontal shelf in here to fruit my shiitake, because I don't believe you can fruit shiitake like this. You simply can't access behind the block for shiitake. But this here for oyster I think is perfect, and that's why I am shifting to it.